And we are live here with Real News Quarantine, back again. It's such a busy news day that I know we had to dive headfirst into all this. Let's start off with the big news. We'll go into what you were going to talk about in a second, Phil, some developments with our retaliation against China. But the biggest news story of the day, Michael Flynn, my boy, got his case dropped by the DOJ. AG Barr dropped it, and now all we're waiting for is a judge to drop it, which it looks like it's likely going to happen since the DOJ set that big precedent. Michael Flynn did nothing wrong, as we found in those FBI documents that came out where they were getting him to lie. Pretty big deal. So this is great. Absolutely great. And Trump was smart to wait and not pardon him yet, but he'll probably still pardon him eventually. But, you know, man, we just got a beauty.
Yeah, that's that's great. Glad they dropped that case.
Well, I mean, what it sounds like is the reason they went after him so hard was because he was one of the few people that knew how to maneuver the deep state and knew insider secrets and shit. And that's really why they went after him. But thank God he's free now. I mean, Trump might even offer him a job after this, but I don't know if he'll take it after all this. He's definitely gonna sue.
Like, fuck this, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, so why good people don't go into politics.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of those guys you're talking about. Like, he was a national security advisor. Like, he knows. If he doesn't know information, he definitely can get it. Like, he can, whatever he wants to know, he can find a way to get the information, and then that's damaging. That's if you're trying to tackle a deep state, something that's like incredibly swampy and full of dirt and all that stuff. Like, that's probably the last guy you want to dig at whatever information you're trying to hide, or what you don't want released to the public.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can, so again, if you can get, like we were talking about this the other day, if I could get to Flynn, or if I can get to your national security advisor, I could probably get to you. Well, try as you might.
Yeah, they've tried to go after Trump. I mean, they did with the Russian. So remember, this whole started with Russian collusion. That was the thing they tried to tie Flynn to, and then eventually Trump. They even went as far as impeaching him recently. I think now you're going to start seeing Democrats go hard after Barr. Before, they were kind of like talking and not really saying even too much about him. But I think after this, Barr has proven he's effective. He's going to stand up for the rule of law, and he's going to stand for Trump. Barr is officially a threat, and they're going to go after him hard, I think. I think you're going to see some dirt come out on him. They're going to try a lot of smear tactics. It's going to get ugly against Barr. And I think he's going to stay strong because he's really got nothing to gain from doing his job right now, so he's probably in it for real. We'll see. But it's going to be, I think you're going to, because you see this stuff happen to Roger Stone, Alex Jones get dragged through courts and all that jazz. And speaking of Alex, by the way, I was re-listening to his Joe Rogan, and Elon Musk is back on Joe Rogan today. So I recommend everyone check that out. That should be fun. Did you guys check it out yet?
No. Are we gonna have to go and like sell our Tesla stocks now?
Yeah. He revealed like why. Did you see his baby's name? He had a baby the other day. Did you see the name?
It was like
for it?
A12 or something stupid like that.
It was some like hipster name of like A and then like an E and an A combined together, some other shit and some letter numbers. And the end of it is the only part he added, and it has to do with the SR-71 Blackbird, the spy plane. But the rest of it was named after like his, I think she's Canadian singer, anime loving girlfriend. I don't even know if they're married yet, but he explained
Wait, so
it.
what anime is? What's his favorite anime? Samurai Jack.
Do you want me to like kick you out of the stream for good and like block you on all of our social media? Those are fighting words.
And geez, you can treat me like the college Republicans treat you.
Yeah. Oh, Dictator Phil has a Medal of Honor from the Twitter war, the meme war. I saw you flashing it on Twitter today.
Yeah, they kicked me out. They blocked me. Those fuckers blocked me, which I will take that as a badge of honor. I will absolutely take that as a badge of honor, considering how dirty and corrupt that freaking organization is. I will hold that news close to my heart and wear it with pride.
I would like to read your tweet because it actually, like, you have a lot of great tweets, but this one, for some reason, I thought it's one of your, it's up there with one of your best because of just how perfectly worded, and there's a little strategy behind it.
I was thinking of Donald Trump when I wrote that tweet. I'm not gonna lie.
Really?
There's Donald Trump-esque thought that went into that tweet.
That's probably why that's probably where you got your strategy inspiration from. But if anybody wants to check it out, go to @dictator_Phil. He said, "Oh look, at Penn State GOP, one of the dirtiest student organizations in #Penn State history has blocked me. The @PSU college Dems are owning them. They're owning them because of their laziness and incompetence and costing their own party seats in the process. This is a badge of honor." #PSU, #we are. That line, I'm not gonna lie, even I didn't really quite think of it this way, and I think it really puts into perspective the issue we have at Penn State and maybe at large. The Penn State college Dems are owning them because of their laziness and incompetence and costing them party seats.
Yeah, it's not because of the Democrats are like better, or they have some sort of like talent, they're more talented or whatever. It's literally because the college Republicans are lazy and incompetent. All you have to do is literally show the fuck up. It's like it's central Pennsylvania. It's central Pennsylvania. There's so many Republicans that live in that area, and you're letting Democrats take those seats because you can't do the fucking work. Like you're handing the Dems seats. I almost wonder if you're doing it on purpose. I kind of wonder.
Well, we know for certain somebody got in. Let's call him Waldo. He would be doing it on purpose.
Probably.
Well,
highly likely.
And I mean, that's just perfect framing of this whole thing, is that it literally is not the college Dems that are holding the CRs down. It is the CRs themselves.
Yeah, it's literally like there's no like this is what I tried. Like I tried to tell these guys, nobody can hold you down longer than you hold yourself down. And that's with anything. Like I try to tell everybody. I tried, not just these guys. I tried to tell everybody that. It's like, oh, they've been holding us down for so long or whatever. I'm like, well, are they holding you down or are you holding yourself down?
Yeah.
Nobody has that kind of power to hold you down for years at a time, right? I don't even think people care that much to hold somebody down long enough on anything, right? Eventually, you gotta look at the mirror and go, hey, what can I do to maybe reverse course or maybe upgrade my situation, whatever it is. But I mean, they don't like the Republicans don't want to, the college Republicans don't want to do that. There's like this contentness with just staying, with the status quo. I'll take my free CPAC tickets or CPAC vacation, and I'll take the bullet on the resume, and I'll lie to my employers and tell them that I actually did something.
Or I was there when 9/11 happened.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah, when you were like fucking pissing in your Pampers. You couldn't even walk. Like you're telling me you remember that shit, dude? Like that's some bullshit.
We need to do a full-on investigation of that, Project Veritas style, and find out what's going on.
Politicians said they're getting like shot at by helicopters and stuff.
That was Hillary Clinton and Lion Brian Williams.
And shit.
I think you're thinking of Lion Brian.
Yeah, it sounds like the same sort of thing.
It does, dude. It does.
No wonder they love these people.
Yeah.
You got a what, Senator Blumenthal there with the saying he went to Vietnam and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
These,
where
these people are so fucking fake. It hurts.
it does. And speaking of something like that, this is what I saw a thing in Milo's Telegram that relates to this. There was an article in the Daily Beast that came out, I believe today, yesterday, 7th. Larry Wilmore, who was on Real Time Bill Maher when Milo was on,
Mm-hmm.
says Larry Wilmore on, quote, nice guy, unquote, Ben Shapiro, and telling Milo, quote, to go fuck himself, which he did say on the show. Now,
Mm-hmm.
and then Milo commented perfectly. He said, how you know which one they're afraid of and which one they're not. It's so true. The contrast can be more clear. Oh, Ben Shapiro, he's such a nice gentleman. I wish more conservatives were like him. Oh, so proper, so formal, and oh my God, he's so nice and so just he's one of the good ones, guys. Then Milo, it's like, oh, go fuck yourself. You're the worst of the worst. You should be banned from every platform. You should be out of here. This is not what conservatives should be accepting. You know, that's the sort of reaction you'll get, and that tells you who's effective, who's not, who's really what they're afraid of, and who's not.
Yeah, no kidding, man.
That's what they do to Flynn. Flynn's the one they're afraid of. Take him out. Alex Jones, he's influential, powerful. They're afraid of him. Drag him through the courts, suck him dry. Roger Stone, powerful, influential, suck him dry. That's what they do.
It's gonna. It always backfires though. You would think that
Yeah.
they learned by now. You know, you would think that these people have learned by now to not test their luck, because all of this really does. Because you find out like when you find like with Flynn, like you find out who these people are. It always has a tendency of, you know, the information always has a tendency of getting put out there, and you find out who the bad actors are, and they either get fired or they leave in shame. It's like, you know.
And thank God we have Trump, and imagine if we had Clinton, and none of this would come out.
Yeah, this would get buried on, like, holy God.
And all those people that are fucking like saying, "Oh, I'm not voting for Trump. I'm voting for Amash," or "I'm not voting. I'm upset with Trump." Like these people
You're
are.
a tard. You're a tard. If you vote for Justin Amash, you're a tard. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no end around it. Like, oh, I'm voting for Justin Amash, and I'm hoping that, you know, he wins a couple states, and then they go to Congress, and that, like, look, it's not gonna fucking happen. Okay,
Yeah.
it's not gonna happen. He's not gonna get any electoral votes. Stop it. Okay.
Get out of
You
La
know,
La
you're just-
Land.
yeah. Look, and then we tried to. We said this the other day. Look, you can have what, like, the way that this country is set up. Okay, you can have a couple good things. Okay, you're not going to get everything you want. Okay, you're not going to get liberal or conservative. You're not going to get everything you want in this world. But if you play your cards right, you might get some things, and some things are better than none. Right? Take that. Okay, that's, you know, these people just want to fight for more, and at the end you're still getting one or two things. And if, like, and if you vote for Justin Amash and fucking creepy Joe Amnesia fucking wins this election, you're not getting shit. Like, you're not getting shit. Like, everything is gone.
Exactly.
Everything is gone. You're fucking the tax, you know, the lessening of taxes, your gun rights, all that shit is going right out of the fucking window.
It's because they have this purity perfectionist mindset that if some candidate is not perfect up to their every single standard, then they're unconstitutional. Yeah.
These douchers are bitching about gun rights because they're banning bump stock. Like, how minute of a fucking argument that is.
Yeah.
Now, grant you, I agree, and I will say this: I agree that bump stocks should probably be legal. However, am I going to make a big fucking deal about it if they're not? No, I don't give a shit because I think if you're going to ban automatic weapons, then I think it's kind of fair to
Yeah,
ban bump stocks.
Okay, well
that was my
here's the thing
argument
with that.
too.
How do you define a bump stock?
Well, something a switch designed to turn a semi-automatic weapon into
It does.
automatic-ish.
It isn't fully automatic though, so you
Yeah,
can
no,
recreate the same thing with
it's
a
not
rubber
fully
band.
automatic. You're right. But
It's
I'm
kind of a
saying
loophole to it.
if
Well, it's
right,
not really. It's not even really a loophole. You're
I
not. It doesn't
agree.
make it fully automatic, and
I
you can
totally agree with you though.
operate the same way without using an actual different stock. Like there's a
Right.
to do it without using the stock.
I get
So at
it.
that point, like you open up a whole can of worms, and that's sort of the issue there. And then at what point can they
Right.
just go and say, hey, I don't like this magazine size. That's too big, or hey, I don't like, the way this thing looks. Like and they've
Right.
done that
Right.
before. They've
Right.
done that before, and it's always a give, 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 give. There's never anything in the past. I think that there was one time we actually got something back for any sort of regulation that was like back when Reagan was in office, and still was a shitty deal. That was like it was a
Mhm.
it would make like the Native Americans feel like they got a great deal. Like it was such a shitty deal because we gave up the ability to go and get newly manufactured, fully automatic weapons a for the ability to transport firearms across states. And
Yeah.
even then, they still lie about that. Like New York violates that all the time. People
Oh
get
yeah.
sent to jail, and nothing happens. Like unless you have $1 million lawyers,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
that's
I get it. I get it. I agree. I agree with you totally. If it were up to me, automatic weapons wouldn't be would be legal, right? But
we can still get them. You just have to spend money on
yeah,
it.
you
It's
just gotta.
just
Yeah. Yeah. Of
it,
course.
like
But
all
I'm
it does.
saying
Like it's all it does is it makes it so the rich can have stuff that you can't. Like it's anti,
it's
populist.
elitism. Yeah, it's elitism. But I'm saying, look, I'm not gonna. I'm saying that's not something that I'm just gonna turn on
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump for. That's not something I'm gonna turn on, turn to help Joe Biden for. Because honestly, you're voting for Justin Amash. You're really helping Joe Biden. Like that's kind of where you're at. That's kind of where we're at. Am I willing? Yeah, I mean, it's like I agree with you, but I'm not willing to just, you know, help Joe Biden get fucking elected over this shit, over these fucking bump stocks, man. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, no, I agree with
Priorities.
that too. Like there's, you have to prioritize your things. But
Yeah,
I feel that, something like that, they need to have some way to redress, and that kind of goes back to
yeah,
my general issue with the way things are with our political system. But that isn't changing in this election. So
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I
And
mean,
I understand
I
that.
feel like it'll change. I feel like it'll change. I feel like, hmm, I feel like that's like the one thing that I feel like that's the one thing that Trump maybe kind of gave an olive branch to, and like he's regretting it now.
yeah, because
I feel like
do you think it helped them with the Democrats? The Democrats don't give a shit.
no,
No.
I
All
think
it
he's
did was get people who are Republicans, like especially the libertarian mind ones, to turn its back on them. Like, and
yeah,
I get it. He's only human, as much as we like to meme that
yeah,
he's a god emperor and stuff. People make mistakes,
yeah.
And he
and
might
I
have
agree with him.
thought,
But I
because,
mean,
like, he might have
but
thought it
this
was
is
the
the
right
thing. Like,
thing.
yeah, he might have thought like he was trying to give stuff out because you're gonna have to make some concessions when it comes to like budgets and when it comes to bills and like shit like that because they're like you're dealing with a bunch of shitty people. Like you're like these Democrats are terrible fucking people. And unfortunately, with the House, you know, you're really kind of bent over a barrel, like
Mm-hmm.
having to get this. If you're trying to get a budget in, like obviously we have to. spend money. Obviously, we have to, if we're trying to get bills passed, we have to make stuff happen. And I this is why you got to vote to get the house back.
Yep. Yep.
Fuck's sake, get the house back. So you don't have to deal with this shit.
Yep.
Well, my thing was that didn't even happen during. I don't even think this was part of a budget. This was just a bill that was spontaneously.
I think what Phil is saying is that there's a lot we don't know, and he could have, again, it's just a possibility to throw out there.
That's a whole other thing too. They didn't even investigate that incident properly either. That
wasn't a can of worms. Yeah. Well, I'm saying, I think what Phil's
a lot of can of worms going on.
Like what Phil's trying to say,
there's a lot of can of worms going on,
is that there's a lot we don't know that's happening. A lot of backdoor deals and sort of like, hey, I'll do this if you can do this for me. We really don't know at the end of the day what was really going in through Trump's mind, unless he flat out told us like every secret and every little thing that's going on. That's why, again, these libertarian people need to go to LI. You notice a lot of them don't go to the Leadership Institute schools, because one of the first things they taught us was don't make perfect the enemy of the good. I forget what saying they used, but something kind of like that. I'll check my notes. I took a shit ton of notes there. But that was like one of the first things they told us. And I'm like, yeah, hear that, libertarians? I was like smiling during the whole thing. I'm like, it's just like, I get where you're coming from, but like priorities, and let's think of the bigger picture here. And I mean, it's just frustrating, like some of these people. Because they are a small group. I mean, I'm going to probably post this on Facebook and trigger some libertarians, but there was one graph that showed like the American population and where they align on the political spectrum, and it was like all this like sea of red in the top right quadrant, and then the left quadrant, top left, there was a lot, and then the bottom left there was a lot, but in the bottom right there was like nothing. And I'm like, yeah, this is, and I had like a circle over and said Amash is like a voters, and it was like hardly anyone. I'm like, yeah, it's true, but they saw spoilers. And one thing I'm noticing too, coming from libertarians as well, I showed this to you guys last night, and even Phil and I both agree we're not going to kind of comment on this, but there was a shooting that happened with this black guy. I think 2 white guys shot him. That's the whole, I'm not trying to inject race into it, but that's what the media's been saying. A lot of people are saying that it was an unjustified shooting. I don't even know if it was done by cops or not. I don't know a lot about it. Nobody really knows the full context of it. But I'm seeing so many people jump on this bandwagon of, oh, it was racially motivated. Oh, this shouldn't have happened. If the races were reversed, this wouldn't have happened. I'm like, whoa, people, let's slow down. We've only seen a very grainy, blurry video of this incident that doesn't give any context. Who knows what's really going on? And I'm not even gonna say anything yet till we know enough.
When there's something else important going on in the real world, if you ever notice that, you'll see some sort of distraction being thrown, whether it's like a school shooting or if it's something like this. I'm not saying that these people generate them. I'm saying that they pick up on, something else is going on under the, looking glass that you should be paying attention to.
Yeah, I mean, we always get these cases where it's like we see a clip and we're like, oh, we react, and it's emotionally grasping, but like, how many times do we look at one of these situations and then the investigation plays itself out, and it comes to find out that what happened was completely different than what you saw in that little clip when it first popped out. Now, of course, if these guys are guilty of what they say they're guilty of, they should get punished. I'm always a firm believer in the death penalty, but hey, they should at least get punished. But we have investigations for a reason, right? We try to gather information, we try to and we build a case, and and that's how we eventually get our convictions or plea deals or whatever, right? Try, like, the whole point, that's the whole point of these investigations. So let them play their course, and then we can have a another conversation for another day.
Yeah, I mean, and this is the thing too. I'm seeing who I thought were right wing people now preaching Black Lives Matter talking points with this, and I'm like, guys, you're probably the same people that when these other shootings happened, like the Michael Brown one, that originally said like, hey, let's wait for more stuff comes out. You know, there may be more context here. Let's not jump to any conclusions. And now I see these same people jumping to fucking conclusions.
And I'm not, and we're not trying, to say, oh, he's innocent or he's
Yeah.
guilty or whatever. It's like, look,
Wait till the facts are out.
all we have is this clip, that we saw on Twitter, and that's all really any of us know. Let the investigation play out, and if he's guilty, hang him by his nuts,
Yeah.
and if not, whatever. Okay. But let that investigation play out. Some of these, and especially if you, well, I would say the FBI is pretty good at this sort of thing. But now I have to kind of walk it back, But no, but seriously, like these people that are doing these investigations, they know what they're doing. Okay, just let them investigate.
Well, and then what I've noticed too is this happens with a lot of sort of social movements, is a bunch of people, elites, globalists, whatever you want to call them, social activists, people that want to sort of pull the strings of society. They funnel money into a lot of these movements to push their agenda, and to have what seems like a grassroots movement not be so grassroots. And this happens in many movements. I'm not talking about one in particular, but like with the Black Lives Matter thing, the Parkland thing, a lot of people get suspicious because of this. So I guess it's social engineering in a way of these movements that happens. I mean, Parkland's or the March for Our Lives one's a good example. Did I say Parkland? I'm getting into Alex Jones territory. Parkland happened, people. I'm not saying it didn't happen, just to be clear. But I'm talking about March for Our Lives was something that's engineered. They got this nice logo and these T-shirts and these speaking platforms, and these kids are getting all these gigs and whatnot. Like it's very, very engineered by people behind the scenes, and that's, again, why is police brutality on African Americans an issue now in 2020? Like, seriously, I mean, we're not in the Jim Crow era. Like, what's going on?
It's not. It's really. So, I don't know. I feel like these movements, when they become political, it has the same feel as if like an IP, like if a company goes corporate, right? You get that small startup company, and it's nice and cozy, and it's everybody's getting along with everybody, and you got a lot of flexibility going on, and and it's great. It's a great place to work. And then you turn corporate, you're getting all this money, and everything seems great. But now you got other people calling the shots because it's their fucking money, right? So now, it's kind of the same thing. You got a whole lot, these movements, they're getting political. So then they're getting these political donations. So now other people are really calling the shots on these organizations. So you need, I don't know, and the problem is when you have something, and I mean, and I'm sure whoever created Black Lives Matter, I'm sure they might have had good intentions or whatever, but when you're making it political like that, it's like, well, it puts it out there to some, you start mixing it around with some bullshit, right? You probably had some good cases. You had one or two cases that were kind of legit, but you mixed them in with a whole bunch of bullshit, and it kind of cheapens the whole movement as a whole, and so that's something to think about. And I feel like that's where we are. Like, look at the Me Too movement, right? You look at the Me Too movement, right? That was something that everybody was like when Kavanaugh was going through all that craziness, right? Me Too and all that. Like it was all like, oh, believe all survivors and all that mess. It's like, okay, all right. But then, and the shoe's on the other foot, right? And now Joe Biden.
Oh,
Now Joe Biden's getting,
good
get
segue.
yeah.
Because now Tara Reid, Joe Biden's accuser, interestingly, she was going to do an interview on Fox Sunday, cancel that last Sunday. Now she's going to be doing an interview with Megyn Kelly. There's already some clips coming out with it. I
Yeah.
guess the full one.
I think that's a good move. I think that's a good move for her.
I
I feel like Megyn Kelly's probably the really, because she's really good. Like she's a really good. First off, she's a really good interviewer. Like she's very good at interviewing. Secondly, she's been through the whole. She's been through She's been through that whole deal, not only with Fox News, but also with NBC. Like she's been through a lot of it. Like so she has some experience with handling that sort of stuff.
well, and
And
she kind of made allegations against Roger Ailes too. Remember that? I mean,
right.
I think here's why I'm gonna sort of caveat, because I do mostly agree with you. I think it's a smart move because, number one, she's a woman who's been in this
Right.
situation before,
Right.
and is kind of, I don't want to say she's not really politically left or right anymore, because she was on Fox, went to NBC. She's kind of on both sides now, so it's a very smart move. The one thing, this is where I'm going to caveat it.
Yeah.
Megyn Kelly, I do not trust her for a second as a reporter.
Uh-huh.
And it's because of what she did to Alex Jones. I don't know if you guys know about this or remember this.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was kind of wild. But
She was like, "Oh, Alex Jones is good. I'm gonna paint him as the family man. I'm gonna show the good side of him that people don't see." And it was a total hit job. She stitched him up to be the Sandy Hook guy, the Sandy Hook conspiracy theorist.
Yeah.
And she said she wasn't gonna do that. She did that. And Alex Jones, smart motherfucker, had everything recorded.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my
that's
God,
how you
when
do
he
it,
did
man.
it. Ooh, I'm telling you, that guy
That's how
is
you do it.
totally misunderstood. And that's where I'm a little I'm nervous about Megyn Kelly doing this interview, but I think it is a smart move what Tara Reid did. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah. I like it. I do like it though, because like I don't know what happened to Roger Ailes. Like I don't know, and we're never gonna know. I don't think we're ever gonna know the honest to God truth. Because he's dead now, or whatever. But like but she definitely was around during the whole the Andy Lack thing shit, and covering up of the fucking the burying of the Harvey Weinstein story, and like she's around during all of that stuff. So I mean, she's been around it long enough to be able to answer or to ask the right question.
Yeah.
So
that's why I think it's a really interesting move on Tara Reid's part to go with Kelly. I think that's a very just like that came out of left field. I didn't even think that's who she would go to, and I'm like, that's a great idea actually. Because also Megyn Kelly's I think she's independent now. I think she just has her YouTube channel, so there's no corporate overlords to my knowledge. So it's a very smart move.
Yeah. I don't know. So I'll say this though. People that there are people out there, or there are some women out there that are like, even if Joe Biden is guilty, they're still gonna vote for Joe Biden. I'm like, if that's you're kind of a piece of shit. Like just throwing that out there. I don't have respect for you. Kill yourself. I don't know. I just I'm like, yeah, because like, look, you like, because if you're telling me, okay, believe all women, and
Believe all
we
women.
need to hold these people accountable, right? We need to hold all these people accountable, and it's like, no, you created this fucking standard with the whole Kavanaugh shit. Now
Own up
you're
to it.
still going to, if you're still going to vote for somebody who would be guilty of something like that, of course, the presumption of innocence is necessary in every case, but until otherwise proven guilty. But should he actually be guilty of this infraction and proven guilty of this infraction, then he absolutely should not be president. I mean, he really shouldn't be president with the whole, you know, pre-stages of dementia, but that's another story. But but he definitely shouldn't be if he, because if he's guilty of this terror reach it, because we've all seen the fucking videos and pictures of him being creepy as fucking shit. Okay, you don't want that. You don't want that as the leader of the free world. Like everybody, even people that made accusations at Trump, but Trump doesn't act like that. Like Trump doesn't act like Joe Biden weird. Like Joe Biden, there's like a weirdness to him. Like it's like with when Trump had those accusations pushed against him, you have to look at it like, does it pass the eye test? Well, no, it doesn't really pass the eye test. Like when you look at it, it's like, well, he's had access to some of the most beautiful women in the world. He's, it's not like no, he would never have to sexually assault or force himself on anybody. It's just not, it doesn't pass the eye test. Whereas Joe Biden, it's like, this dude has been creepy on camera. On camera, this dude has been creepy. So already he fails the eye test. So now I'm already like, well, you're going to have to show me something that says something else.
Well, remember what Trump said in those Access Hollywood tapes proves exactly what you say. I mean, people thought on the left, like, oh, he's bragging about groping women. That's not what he said.
That's not what he said.
When you're a star, they let you do anything or something like that.
Yeah.
He's talking about not when guys throw themselves on women, but when women throw themselves on guys.
Yeah.
And that's what they would do to him, and he would have to be like, oh, ladies, cute, funny, okay, and kind of try to keep his distance, and he's smart, he did.
And it was locker. He's like, it was locker room talk. And you had some of these athletes going, that's not locker room talk. I don't know.
Bullshit.
Yeah, you're full of shit. And two, it was on the Howard Stern show. Was that a Howard Stern interview?
No, he was on a bus with Billy Bush from Access Hollywood. But he said stuff on Howard Stern too that was pretty, vulgar.
That's Howard Stern. That's Howard Stern. People people say vulgar shit on Howard Stern all the time. They still do. Even though it's cleaned up, they still do. It's, you got to, I don't know. It's hard because I'm because there's so like the creepy shit that's already on the internet already puts him at a disadvantage. Puts Joe Biden at a gross disadvantage, and especially, and then you're talking about, and now, and we're talking about the macro elements, like with the dirty dealings with his son and all those ties to fucking China, who's already in the shitter right now with this whole coronavirus mess. Like, you look, it ain't like that. That might be the last guy you want as leader of the free world there, pimping.
And actually, well, I'm going to say, we're going to go into two things, too. I just realized. I want to talk about the Black Rifle Coffee thing that you posted, Alex. And then, since we mentioned China right now, you're giving us an update on China, Phil. What was that? About some bill or something being proposed?
So, over the last few days, and probably a little bit beforehand, They've been the House has been looking to have a coronavirus oversight committee, right? Like trying to look into the origins of the coronavirus and seeing what kind of accountability can be made, like through these investigations. Um, and I mean, you got quite a few interesting names here. Like, so you have, let's see, so you have, let's see,
While you're looking
say,
that, oh, you found it?
so Jim Jordan. So Jim Jordan. So you have. Let's see. It's headed by Jim Clyburn, a Democrat from South Carolina. Um, but it's also some of the members include like Liz Cheney, Jim Banks, who I'm going to talk about here in a little bit. Andy Barr, John Curtis, Anthony Gonzalez, Darren LaHood, Mike Gallagher, John Joyce, Adam Kinzinger, some really good people. Elise Stefanik, who I really like. I think she's a real, she's a real straight shooter. Um, but anyway, one of the things, a couple of things that have happened recently. One of the things is Jim Banks is trying to push this bill that basically curbs Chinese foreign investment, like especially like particularly predatory Chinese foreign investment in American companies or whatever. Because now what you're seeing with a lot of these a lot of the economic crushing of countries with like Europe and stuff like that is, the Chinese are starting to make some predatory investments in some of these companies that are like failing and are on their last legs of life. And Jim Banks is looking to pass a bill that's basically going to curb all of that, which, which would really fuck over China, considering how much money they already have in our economy.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was saying something like 1.2 trillion dollars of Chinese investment is in our economy. But yeah, also, another thing, Tom Cott.
Oh,
This
I
is
was
this
gonna
is
mention
something
that
that I like.
too.
Yeah, you were gonna mention
Yes.
that. Okay, I'll let you do it.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to spoil your fun.
No, I mean, did you see when I retweeted on Verse? Is that when you first saw it?
Yeah, I did. I did. Actually, I did. Yeah,
Okay,
I
then
was like, yes.
it is one of the, like, it's one of those things that it's fun, it's clever, but I don't know if it's gonna happen or how it will happen. But it would be
Well, it
really cool
probably
if it
won't happen,
does.
but it's still good. It's still cool.
It's still a cool concept. Tankan tweets out, the CCP wants the world to forget Dr. Li Wenliang, who tried to warn his colleagues about the Wuhan virus. We can ensure his name is never forgotten by placing it permanently outside the embassy of the regime responsible for his persecution and death. And this is because Cotton is introducing a bill that will rename the Chinese Embassy Street the Li Wenliang Plaza.
Mhm.
Fucking
great.
A. Let's do it.
Great.
Just every day they come into work and they have to see that shit, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh. This is, again, I saw this tweet by Nav. I have to give credit where credit's due. This is Cold War we're entering, people. A second Cold War with China. Is the rest of the world going to wise up and toughen up? I personally don't think so.
They already are. They already are. They are. There's a lot of countries that are already going, hey, we're not dealing with, like, there's a lot of European countries that are curbing that are curbing some of this shit that's going on. It's happening. Like, we need to do more. Like, I feel like if we do more, and we are doing a lot, like, they're realizing, like Europe's realizing that we were right, though, like Trump was right the whole fucking time, and like, oh, maybe we should follow his lead.
Yeah, I think I think what you'll also see, if let's say Europe doesn't pull through this round, you're going to see a bunch of populist candidates get on the stage and get traction and get a following because of this.
I think you might start to see it anyway. I think it's going to
Yes.
happen anyway. I feel like there's going to be hell to pay for a lot of these politicians that have been cozying up to China for way too fucking long.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had a good idea. You had a good idea that these people were shady as fuck before all this. We're starting to see. Look, we're starting to see with Harvard. Harvard's like, you know, not getting not so nice press right now going on with, you know, all the money they took from the government, and then they're taking money from China, and they're like, it's just fucking greasy.
Mm-hmm.
Just this school that is like, that has the highest endowment of really any school in the world. You're like, they're taking money from China and from the US. It's like, you kind of shifty. The Chinese president Xi's daughter was, you know, she attended Harvard.
Yep,
It's
that's
like,
so
look,
true.
I'm telling you, it's like these people are going to get these people are going to have hell to pay. A lot of these people, and if they don't straighten up their act, it's going to get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they don't flip ship, it's going to get worse.
Yeah, it's a. Here's the thing. I mean, we've all been smart on China. We've been talking about this. You can look at all of our old radio broadcasts and everything. We've been talking about China forever. I mean, Trump's been talking about forever. And even before Trump has been talking, you know, before he ran 2016, he's been talking about, we've been talking about. This is something that is so obvious. And like when I see these headlines, they're like, is this the wake up call in China? I'm like, we've had so many wake up calls. This is like this is like pouring like.
No, this is the we've been making wake up calls all fucking morning, and you just now woke up at 2:00 in the afternoon, and are just like, oh my god, what is this China stuff, dude? We've been trying to call you since 6 a.m., dude. All right, let's go. Let's go. It's fucking.
Yeah, it's absolutely, you know, just ridiculous it's taking this long, but it took a pandemic, I guess, to actually do it. But whatever. I mean, the thing is with China, they are so deep into so many things. It's even me. There's certain things I'm like, oh boy, they're in that too. Sometimes it can surprise me, sometimes it doesn't. But like when I was re-listening to the Alex Jones interview on Joe Rogan when he came back, it was a few months ago. I forget when this was, but this is long before Corona. He was talking about how Google's beholden to China, where when they brought Google over to China and all their services, apparently somebody, you know, Alex was saying like, oh, you know, the Chicoms, they're totally in control of Google and all this, and you know, they're giving them AI technology and all this, and he's right a lot of this, and I think you're going to be more and more right, Phil, that this is why he got kicked off.
Yeah, I think, well, it's Alex is, he's, I don't want to say he's 100% right, but like, okay,
he's in the right direction.
He's in the right direction. He's definitely in the right direction. So these companies wanted to do business in China because it's such a, you know, there's so many people, it's such a huge market apparently, but it comes with a cost. It legitimately comes with a cost. Like you're doing like billion-dollar business. Like look at Comcast. They do multi-billion-dollar business over there in China. So what happens? So what? And you're building a building Universal Studios out there in Shanghai and shit. Like, what do you think's gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? You think China's gonna let NBC put some negative piece out on China? You're out of your mind. These people are propaganda geniuses. Like they're built for propaganda and silencing propaganda. like they're not gonna let MSNBC talk no hit piece on their fucking country, and so you this is what you're dealing with. Like, look at Apple, right? Apple does a whole lot of manufacturing and a whole lot of shit over there.
Oh.
Think they're gonna fuck? You
They're
think?
looking to leave now. Foxconn's looking to leave.
Well,
Yeah.
you know how much fucking money those people made, and they can't make in the U.S. You know how much they overprice shit? Like, that doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense. Why they can't do that over here? I mean, they'll still make hand over fist. Like, geez, you
Well, I
gotta
mean,
look
or
over
do
your
it, or
Same
do it
with
somewhere
Google,
else, or do it somewhere
Microsoft.
else.
Well, yeah,
Little-
Foxconn, who manufactures all of Apple's products, is looking at other countries now.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to move. And the thing, what I was getting to, though, was that what Alex was talking about with Google being beholden to China, Joe Rogan goes, well, I talked to somebody from Google, and she said it was either Google copies their stuff or they just sort of, do a censored version so that they have a stake in the game. And that tells you, right? I mean, I wouldn't do what Google did, but that tells you that either way, China's got Google by the balls. They either copy your shit, or they'll make their own or they will force you to make a censored version of your shit. And Google, and a lot of companies too. I'm not just targeting Google here. Is really beholden to China right there, and helping them feed their AI and all kinds of other shit that nobody's talking about. Except if you were watching InfoWars. But the what was I gonna say? I already forget. I'm losing my train of thought on China. 'Cause there's like some big thing on China too. Was I was listening to Uncle Steve Bannon's podcast last night, and he was talking about this, or Raheem Kassan on Bannon's podcast was talking about this news agency. I'm gonna look up the name because it's a kind of a unknown source, but you're probably gonna start hearing about them sooner than later. Let me search my history here, see if I can find the name of it. But they are coming into the business kind of more recently, like I said, and they are a sort of like this. Okay, here's the name: CGTN. CGTN is a news agency, and they're Chinese. It even says that here. It's owned and operated by China Central Television. They got started up, or at least pushed up, by a bunch of ex-BBC and Sky News people. So, and they're basically pushing Chinese propaganda, like straight up propaganda. So China, it sounds like to me, it's my prediction, is China's going to probably a lot of these big American and let's say Western media companies, and striking deals with people saying, hey, we'll double your salary. Hey, heck, we'll triple it if you come work for us. And I mean, that's probably what the big motivator here is, money. But Raheem Kassan was like, knew one of these people, and he's messaged him saying, hey, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you're pushing propaganda. I forget what he exactly said. And then this guy started threatening Raheem and was like, dude, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to, go after you. You're going to lose your job. All these crazy things. The Chinese you're going to start seeing Chinese news channels on TV. And you're going to see a bunch of...
CNN.
good catch there. You're right. But you're going to see just go deeper and deeper and deeper, where they're going to like take people from these agencies, pay them off to do shit for them. It's going to get worse. And last thing I'll mention with this whole sort of thing is Bannon mentioned this too. It kind of goes back to the FLYNN thing. When Flynn got taken out of the picture, Trump appointed H.R. McMaster as his national security advisor. McMaster lied to Trump, tried to keep us in all these endless wars, and was pushing for more conflict. He was a total neocon and was just awful, and Trump finally fired him. He is now writing this piece in the Atlantic, and he's coming out with a book, and he's I think he was praising China's handling of the coronavirus and all this shit. But this was the thing that got me. Guess which company appointed him to their board? Zoom. Fucking Zoom.
I've been telling you, stay away from that.
Dude, I hate Zoom. I'm tempted to write a letter to Penn. I will write a email or something to Penn State saying, hey, do not use Zoom next year. You guys are becoming China shills. but I'm forced to
I
use
just
it.
don't know how they can force you to install that on your own computer. Like that's really bizarre. Like when you think about it,
Hmm.
because you never agreed to do that, to my knowledge, to install these third-party softwares to do that
Maybe
stuff.
I
Well,
Like,
did when I enrolled in Penn State without knowing
well,
it.
I wonder with this coronavirus shit, like, with this coronavirus oversight committee, because if they're going to start cracking down on China, like there's already like inquiries into you know, their what's the right word for it? Their influence of universities,
Mm-hmm.
and look, Penn State's like right up there. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sorry, I think Penn State is damn near right up there, and
Look how many
you,
international students are there.
look,
yeah, it's like over
you
10% of the population.
yeah.
Easily.
I mean, you could very well have like if they did so if the Congress did something that would be like, okay, China, get the fuck out of our universities, Penn State would be hit like a bag of bricks. Like it would be a bag of bricks because you know how much money they dump into Penn State. Holy shit,
I ran
it
the
would be
numbers
royally
too,
bad.
and I don't know if we mentioned this, but I'll say this because I've said this before. I'm gonna say it again. Ch- Stop worrying about Russian collusion. Start worrying about Chinese collusion. Stop worrying about Russians infiltrating and hacking universities and our shit. Worry about the Chinese. This has all been the issue for so long, and we need to really get hard on it. But with Chinese students, I ran the numbers. Um, when you are a in-state person applying to Penn State, you pay your rate, and as everybody knows, when you're out of state, you pay more, and that includes international students. It is a
They pay.
60%, I think, higher cost when you're out of state international to go to
I
Penn
think
State.
like international pays an even higher fee too. Like I think that to go and pay a international, it's like a $500 extra a semester international student fee if I remember right. And when I first started, when I was in student government at Penn State, like they didn't even know what that money was going to. They just threw it on there. And like they actually had to go make a committee to go and figure out what it was. And like, and that's why I like CCSG and way more than UPUA because they actually investigated stuff like that. Like UPUA would just be like, oh, let's $500. Huh, that's chump change. Let's go and bump it up to $1,000 and put in like gender diversity, you
Hmm.
know, counselors for all the international
Yeah,
students.
yeah.
Like that's the difference. Like they actually give a shit. But no, like in China too, they've hacked Penn State. Like, didn't you say they hacked them again recently?
There was a
Because when I
time
first,
a while ago they did. I think it's happened
Well,
twice.
that
yeah, because I know when I went in like 2014, I actually knew someone who was hired
well
at
that one
Penn
was the
State.
2015. The article was actually from 2015. The
Yeah,
Um,
one
I
that
think that
that
was the
that was
time when it.
put, yeah. So
That
that was
was when they.
probably when you were there, yeah.
Yeah, because I actually know someone who was hired onto that, and it wasn't even just Penn
Oh.
State too. Like this was across, and like I saw if you have LinkedIn Learning, there's a really interesting series called what was it, Into the Breach or something, where it talks about famous data breaches and like what caused them. And like they had that one on there about all these like state-sponsored Chinese hackers going into universities and stealing like terabytes of
Jesus.
like intellectual property and like research from U.S. institutions.
Yeah.
And I think that one came from like phishing email. But if you have LinkedIn Learning, which I think you still
I
do,
do, yep.
I'd take a look at that. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a, like I think I think that China is I mean, they're you could tell they're on the defensive. Like they're trying to, like, basically, I think they were going after um some US politicians. They were going after this news company on YouTube, WION, out of India.
Hmm.
um because they were one of the first to report that the Chinese tests were faulty. Like India wouldn't even take, like, I guess the India wouldn't even take these tests because they were faulty, right? And of course, China's hit back at them. They're like, "Oh, this is that report is false," and all that. Like, no, these things were actually fucking faulty. Um, but like, no, they're going after people. This disinformation campaign, it is real, and it's going to get worse. It is definitely going to get worse.
And that's the
Um,
thing I want to kind of, because I see a lot of in the right, like you get all these fractions. I see the Groypers for the last few months have been like obsessing over fetishizing Israel and all the Israeli influence. I don't see them ever talk about the Chinese influence as much. And the Chinese influence, I mean, yes, there's a great Israeli influence on us. Don't get me wrong. On us, I mean the country, not us. But there is a lot of Israeli influence on American politics. But I think the Chinese influence is far greater and far more damaging than any other influence. And I don't hear
Yeah.
these so-called America firsters really diving into that enough. I mean, we do. We're America first. We dive into that, but these Groyper people just they seem to fetishize on Israel. I'm like, guys, priorities here again. That's like our favorite word is priorities. China's a priority right now.
Well, it should have always been a priority.
Yeah.
It's just no one gave a shit about it.
Except Trump. Except Trump. Daddy Trump. He was on it.
Well,
but it's
like
like there's
literally,
so
you
much.
ask anyone who's worked in cybersecurity, like Russia will do their shit, but China,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they do a lot more. Like just look at your spam, like go in your spam folder one time, and look at it. 'Cause I mean, I see a shit every day. It's like, hey, we're some factory from Shenzhen, China, looking to go and manufacture you like microwave ovens or some other bullshit. Send us, like they'll just, and that's just the regular stupid spam and scam ones. Like they'll go into, they could do a lot of really bad stuff, from what I've seen. Like they're definitely, I mean, Russia does it too. But, that's really most of what Russia does. It's like cyber threats. With like China, you have a lot more, like their cyber threats, honestly, probably much more so than Russia. And they also have manufacturing. They have like intellectual property theft, like way more than
Mm-hmm.
any other country you've ever seen.
AI.
Well, AI is a problem too, but and that's like an interesting thing. So I remember reading this. Like they're actually starting to make their own processors now, the Chinese.
Yeah, I bet. I'm telling you, they're going to be
Be-
competing in every single market we have. More so
well,
than
they're really shit right now. Like I think
for now.
someone did, but they're gonna steal the stuff anyway. Because like the thing with
They'll
that,
take a
it's how
Ryzen.
small.
They'll take an AMD Ryzen, tear it apart, and copy it.
I think right now it's like their top of the line like Chinese processor costs like $1,000, and it's like really terrible. It's like I think comparable to like an AMD Bulldog architecture, which is like way old, but give them a few years and they'll start getting it down, and that's gonna be a serious competition piece.
Mm-hmm.
Because like it all started when I think the U.S. stopped sending in Intel Xeon processors because they're using in their super,
Oh shit.
which that'll be an interesting sort of thing too. Because I know like I think Taiwan makes a lot of those processors,
I think
and they
so. Yeah.
and I think if you know about their history, they're not too fond of each other. But I think they do a lot of trading with each other too. Like it's a really weird situation over there with those two countries that both claim to be China.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I said, if Trump wanted to do a power move, just go and start calling Taiwan China.
Yes. You speaking of power, Black Rifle Coffee. What's going on with them?
Yeah, so I don't know if you heard there was a mass shooting in Canada a few weeks ago, and the guy like, and that was a really really weird one too, because the guy like during this whole coronavirus pandemic, he stole like a police vehicle and police. I think he had like police vehicle, police uniform. He started going on a shooting spree. Weapons all obtained illegally. I think he had police weapons and ones that were smuggled in from the United States. And after that, like Trudeau had like an orgasm. He's like, "Okay, buddy, we're gonna just ban all these guns." And like it got so ridiculous. Like they banned a coffee company. Technically, I don't know if they like. I think it's on there, but I think that You know, they'll probably get rid of that when they realize it's actually coffee. But they banned like like regular shotguns. You can't even use a shotgun there anymore. 12 gauge shotgun, 10 gauge shotguns, they're technically banned right now. Like
Did they ban? I
certain
think they called it an assault rifles ban. Is that what they call this whole thing?
assault weapons ban, but it's like even the UK has like they're famous for like having shotguns. So like why, I don't know why they would ban shotguns, like regular 12 gauge shotguns. Like that's included in there. Like anything like over a certain amount of joules, not the vaporizer, but the it's like a Newton. You know, it's like a form of energy. So like certain like big game rifles are like not even like, and these aren't even assault rifles. Like if you were gonna take down a moose, you know, you're gonna want to have something pretty big. 'Cause they're a pretty fucking huge animal, and you know those are banned now. Like they're literally more hardcore than Britain, which it's gonna be really funny since you know they claim to love open borders and they're right next to us. So I mean, I don't know. I'm not gonna lose any sleep if people start smuggling guns over there. But you know,
What?
it's gonna be
Sorry, what was that?
it's gonna be really interesting seeing how that goes because now they're gonna want more closed borders to the U.S. You know, maybe they'll build a wall.
The thing is, like, how much violent or even just gun crime happens in Canada? Like,
Not that much.
honestly.
Like even before this, they had pretty strict gun control there.
Mm-hmm.
Like you would have to like jump through hoops to even get like a 10 round. Like it was way worse like it's well actually in some ways it's worse in like
It's so cold up
California.
there. It's so cold up there though. Like it's like we're you know how crazy we are with this whole fucking stir craziness with the whole coronavirus.
It's like normal
It's like
thing.
that's every day in Canada because it's so cold. They're all trapped in their fucking houses and shit.
Hmm.
I'm surprised they haven't killed each other. Yeah,
Well,
fucking
that's
incredible.
what happened.
Yeah, I
But like,
mean,
and that's funny too, because it's and out like there's so much more like outdoor, like a lot more like outside the big cities. Like it's all like country,
Mm-hmm.
like country. Like not just you know like how we have over here like Central PA. Like it's wilderness over there.
Kind of need a
And
gun to survive in
yeah,
Canada.
it's like same thing with Australia. It's like I don't know how the hell they manage to deal with that, but they're going that route and like what are they going to do with all those? Like, 'cause they said they're going to do a buyback. Like, that's going to be on top of like paying for all this coronavirus shit too. Like, I'm wondering if maybe Trudeau, and I hope that he does, works out some deal with the U.S. to allow them to go and like sell it to people in the U.S. as a way to go and like I don't know. It would make so that the government doesn't have to go and like pay out the ass for that. Like, that would be an interesting move. Buy all the assault weapons from like I don't know if it would be nice if Trump would do that, but I don't know if he like I don't even know if Trudeau would want to do that.
Yeah. Oh,
But
I'm not gonna
like
deal with the orange man. Ugh.
yeah, but like honestly, I don't see how he's gonna be able to pay for that because there's like a shit ton of guns that fall under this ban. And even then, like even right now, like technically you can't I think buy any new ones, and you can't even shoot them if you have them. So like you don't have to sell them for 2 years, but you just can't even use them now.
Mm-hmm.
So it just doesn't make any sense. Like I don't know. Like it's nutty over there. But yeah, they banned Black Rifle Coffee Company because it had, I guess, Black Rifle in the name, and they just I don't know how they compile these. And see that's my big problem with government doing stuff. Like they don't double check their work.
Yeah.
They probably bought this list from like someone, and they're like, oh, this looks like this is some like evil AR-15, but it's actually a thing of coffee. Like they'll probably ban like BB guns, airsoft guns, all that other shit too. Same thing, like Australia did the same shit. Like you have to get a gun license in Australia to use an airsoft gun, and you can't shoot people with the airsoft gun.
Oh God.
Like it's so ridiculous. I don't
you,
know. It's like not
you
even
don't need a
just like
gun. You don't need a gun. You can just fight them off with a hockey stick. That'll work.
In Canada,
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
get off our property, eh? Just fucking just smack them with a hockey stick. They'll do the job, sort of, maybe. Not really, but whatever.
Yeah, it's probably
yeah,
just.
like even before that, like if you had some like what they would consider an assault weapon, like I think it was, they had like different categories. Like there was unrestricted and restricted. And like even if you had restricted, you couldn't even fire that off in the wilderness. You had to go to a designated range anyways.
Oh
So it was
god.
already like ridiculous. Like over here, in most states, like if you have enough property, you can go and shoot in your backyard,
Mhm.
and like as long as there's no ordinances against that. But over there, you could do that unless it was like a pistol or a quote unquote assault weapon.
Mm.
But kind of in other news, there's speaking of like kind of coronavirus and all that shit. Like, did you talk about how some of the stuff going on in PA about that?
Yes, Wolf is gonna reopen. He's gonna move uh, some counties to yellow status tomorrow, or technically today, Friday. Um, and there's some counties that, like the red counties, I think are gonna stay closed with June 4th. I saw, which, like, I know nobody's gonna like that, but may be that's what needs to be done. I have a bad feeling, because this reopening, like we all know, I think we should know at this point that as we reopen, the number of cases is going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody has ever asked, to my knowledge, how many cases is worth adding to reopen. What number's enough? What's too much? It's nobody, I think, really knows. And that's my thing. Is like we're kind of so like we're so eager to open up, and I'm like, well, let's hold on a second and kind of think like, we know the risk going into this, right, guys? And it's like, yeah, cases might go up. Okay, well, how many is too much?
Well, when I was looking this up, I think like 80% of the deaths from coronavirus in PA were from nursing. So I'm thinking if we go, like honestly, they should go and figure out something like if you work in a nursing home, like you will pretty much have to stay on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
Like have to get but everyone else, like if it's 80% of the deaths like that, like you could go and have those people, the vulnerable people, take extra precautions and start easing precautions on everyone else.
Yes.
If that was a true statistic, because why should healthy people have to go and basically go without money, go without basic social, like basic human rights?
Mm-hmm.
The ability to basically do anything other than sit at home, jerk off, and like play video games. Like like it's been like the gamer's paradise lately for some people.
Gamers rise up.
They get free government money. They can get unemployment. They're called heroes for staying home playing Fortnite or Roblox.
Minecraft.
The last statement you made is highly protestable.
But
I enjoy video games and masturbation. I am very offended by the shit you said.
Do you enjoy both of them at the same time, Incel Phil?
Sometimes.
It's great. It depends.
It depends on what day it is.
Oh, okay. Well, what's your favorite game?
I have to say I am a Minecraft enthusiast.
Minecraft
I thought you were more of a Honey Pop fan.
Oh god. Yes, we're not trash on gamers, guys. We're trash on incels. Be clear, because I know. I'm gaming right now, and gamers are cool people. But man, some people, like those people that like live, their life is just gaming, and they don't do anything else. Oof.
I mean,
this is gonna create a whole new like wave of NEETs who after this are like, oh, this is still socially acceptable, right? And they'll be like 40 years old with like a pack of tissues and fucking gigabit internet. Right, guys? I spent my life good. I was protecting people. I'm a hero. Not all heroes wear capes.
Yeah.
I think if they're gonna do, I think
wear fucking
that
spandex.
And I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Oh boy.
If Penn State is to continue this Zoom training, right, going up in the fall semester, I hope it doesn't happen. By the way, I think mass suicide should happen before we do another fucking Zoom semester.
What is with you and suicide tonight?
I fucking hate these Zoom classes.
I hate monetization.
I hate Zoom with an undying passion.
Me too.
Anyway, But
I
anyway,
just don't know how they can get away with forcing you to download Chinese
yeah,
spyware.
that's that too. Um, but I think if you're teaching, you know, some of the liberal arts and sexuality classes via
Mm.
Zoom,
Mm.
I think I think that Penn State should send these students some sex robots so that they can actually train. They can actually appropriately train on these sexuality matters.
It's a
Okay, I
hands-on
think it's a very
experience.
serious. I think it's a very serious situation, and you could really stifle somebody's education if they don't have these sexual bots. Okay.
Well, they could get away with it if they just use VR. They send you like a VR headset, they take it out of your
Yeah.
student,
Like, yeah, you
fund
could
your
get a sex
tuition fee.
bot and then you have that Oculus on your freaking face or whatever. Like it could be a very informative and educational experience.
Hey, it's like that dude that's suing Penn State. One of his claims was, you're not getting the full education. That, I think, that would stop that lawsuit like square in the head. Be like, no, we're giving you more than a full education here. We're giving you a AI waifu. You don't even get that at Penn State, like in person, but through Zoom, damn right you do.
Oh my God, someone should make like a Penn State simulator for like the VR headset, like Penn State simulator, and
You can
just
graduate
kind
for once.
they'll have like that call with like Baron where he's like drinking fucking wine,
Oh,
it's like laughing
dude.
at you.
Fucking A. He's like, yeah. Dude, I get you.
Look at these plebs.
You know what's tomorrow? Tomorrow, I mean Saturday, is my Zoom graduation.
Nice.
Are you guys excited? You gonna be there? Eh?
Yeah,
Oh, I might. I don't know, man. I don't know about Zoom. How the hell is that gonna work? You guys gonna be in like Minecraft or RuneScape or something, and just like find some place like, okay, boys, let's go and graduate. Let's go and use the fake Beaver Stadium. There you go.
I don't even know where Baron's gonna do it from, but I think it's actually just gonna be. I don't even know if it's
Just be
gonna
like
be
a green screen.
Yeah. It's gonna green screen himself with the fucking Beaver Stadium, one of those like shitty backgrounds. I don't even know if it's gonna be using Zoom technically. I need to check. I should check right now because I did get an email about this. But I don't expect anybody to attend. We're gonna watch on the new TV here on the 4K HDR TV right here. But I'm still waiting for the real graduation. And the funny thing about that is a bunch of like big name like top level people from Penn State literally sent out an email saying, "Yo, seniors, stay off of campus. I know you're anxious to have one last hurrah," as they put it, but stay the fuck away from campus.
Wait, isn't State College in yellow now?
No.
I thought State College moves to yellow on the 8th.
Well, it might on Friday. We're gonna have to wait to see what the governor says, but it should. But they sent this email out like a few days ago.
So I heard that your cigar, the cigar den opened back up for like, and they have some sort of modified schedule. So, cause I remember seeing something where it was like Erie, Center County, and a few others were going to yellow. So I mean, obviously you can't go and have everyone come back, but like, if you have like 20 people in like an area, I think that's technically like as long as you're wearing face masks, that's like allowed or something.
I think this live stream might be on Vimeo. It doesn't really say Zoom,
Oh,
so
Vimeo, you can't do it on fucking some like shitty ass like.
Who uses
like,
Vimeo?
honestly, yeah, like really, what's the point? Like, I'm surprised they're even still around.
Me too. And the joke is with Vimeo, you have as a free user a cap on what you can upload. You have an upload limit. After that, you need to fucking pay.
I hate things that do that.
Yeah.
They like when they put the onus on the content creator. Like SoundCloud does that, and that pisses me off.
Pissed me off because that's how we had to use Anchor for our podcast. Because fucking SoundCloud, you can't upload shit until they want you to pay money. And SoundCloud still has fucking ads on it. It's like all about, oh, we're empowering the musicians. Oh, all those people that are in their little garage bands, we're giving them a platform that the record companies want. Bullshit. You guys are
YouTube.
Yeah.
You're butt fucking the fucking customers. Who are you talking about?
Yeah, it's not
Jesus.
just not it's not what they hype it up to be.
All right, who's
Okay, but one
ready
thing
for
I-
some culture news?
Ooh, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Let's go. Are you ready? Are you
Mm.
ready?
I'm sitting down.
All right.
I'm so ready.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start this first one by asking y'all a very important question.
Uh-oh.
Okay, and it's a very important one. Um, who do you think? Who have you witnessed get whipped more, Kunta Kinte or Prince Harry?
Oh, Prince Harry. And I don't even know who the other person is, but
Prince.
Prince fucking Harry's a simp. He's such a
He
simp.
gets so cuddly.
Dude, he sold.
Kunta Kinte's the dude on Roots. You know the what's your name? What like you ever see the movie Roots?
No.
Like Kunta Kinte is the slave that got tied that got tied up, and the one slave owner's like, "What's your name? Damn it!" He's like, "Kunta Kinte, what's your name?" And he finally was like, "Oh, my name is Toby. My name is
Didn't that
Toby."
series say that like they had people like just didn't they perpetuate that thing where like white people went to Africa and caught like random black people and transported them?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, like see
it's-
that didn't
I think
happen.
I think that's
Yeah.
Roots
They
the
sold
TV
each
show.
other.
look.
Yeah,
So-
they
so
sold
I was
each
just
other
saying-
into fucking slavery.
I was just saying I'm saying it because we looked at the television, we looked at the movie Roots, and we saw Kunta Kinte get his ass whooped, right? Just to get his name changed, right? But that's nothing.
Oh, it's
It's
nothing
the
on
opposite
Harry.
now.
That's nothing compared to Prince Harry, right?
Dude.
Well, the roles are reversed because he's getting whipped by the
Yeah.
you know the black
I'm
girl.
like-
Like holy shit, dude.
I'm like, what's going on? I don't want to.
Oh, he
that whip out,
recently he sold all his guns and gave up hunting for the little Princess Megan. Oh my God, it is a royal simping. He's a royal simp. I mean, he literally is.
He gave up his birthright as a prince for this bitch.
He gave up Chaddom, like being a Chad.
Being a royal, he gave that up because he's got some like stupid fucking bimbo from over here who doesn't give a shit about him. Like she just wants like the prestige, like, oh, I'm a princess, even though
Mhm.
technically she's not even a princess anymore. They can't even use the word royal.
Yeah, she doesn't give a
Like,
shit.
This is what happens. This is what happens when you get a fucking trophy wife. Everybody wants that damn trophy wife till you have to actually pay for it, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
no matter
look.
how much money you have, it's not enough.
Yep.
You know?
It's never enough. It's a bottomless pit.
I'm gonna laugh when he ends up like getting actually like cucked. Like we walk in like one day and he's like watching his wife like banging someone else. And he's like, really? Because that's it's gonna happen.
I think it will. I
Like,
mean, she.
it's not gonna last.
I think if that happens, she's gonna make Harry watch. She's gonna make Harry watch. She's like, this. See this? This ain't you because you're a fucking loser and all
I
that.
think it's gonna be
She's
like
him
you're
watch.
getting the Princess Diana treatment.
Yeah.
Like I see why my dad did that. Like I think that's gonna happen. Like honest to God, I think that's gonna probably end up happening.
He's gonna like
Yeah.
go full incel uprising and like fucking like get violent, incel terrorism.
No, he's not gonna do it himself. He's gonna call up mommy or his brother. He's like, hey.
He's gonna get
that
William
wife
the
is-
Chad.
Yeah, like,
Mom, I need a favor, Mom. I need you
Oh,
to get
she's-
rid of this woman. She's killing me. I
Lord, she's
can't
probably-
take this shit anymore. Please.
I don't know, who's
Make
gonna
it
die
stop.
first, the Queen or Betty White?
Ooh, I'd say Betty. I'm gonna say Betty.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Queen's like injecting blood from like the peasant over there or something. Like that's probably how she's staying alive so long.
Yeah, no,
See-
the peasant children. The peasant children are providing blood to the queen.
Probably like it's probably some ancient thing, where you go like sacrifice the firstborn to go and like bathe the queen in blood every night.
When the Queen first met Meghan, what do you think she was thinking when she shook Meghan's hand and like was introduced to her?
Or like where
That
was that
was-
hand the
Ugh.
fucking before? I wonder how much cocks this person's put in their mouth. Because when you're a prince, like you can like, if you're a fucking prince, you can expect to get like a fucking bird, like amazing fucking like virgin or like someone who's at least not a fucking hoe. You know,
And
like
what did
if you're a
Harry
prince,
get?
you,
Yeah, she's probably Elizabeth was probably like, really, Harry? Really, Harry? Of all the fucking women out there, right? There's like 3 billion women, over 3 billion women, and you choose this fucking person? Are you
Mhm.
out of your mind? Are you out of your goddamn mind?
like maybe it was a drinking game like or something after like with
Yeah,
Prince
and he
William. It's like, hey, you know,
lost.
after it's like, hey, you know, after that whole Nazi stunt you did, maybe we're gonna make you marry some black girl for like 5 years, and we'll give her the good old treatment. See how? Well,
Like,
no, I mean, he
no,
really.
mom. No, grandma. I was watching Suits and I found her quite delightful.
What if he
Like, no.
actually found her by accident? Like one night he was like flipping through channels and like came across Suits. And it's like, oh, what is this? What the
Yeah.
Yanks watch? And like he was like, oh, this shit's hot as shit.
Oh
She's the
wow. I
one.
must have her.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, but like,
absolutely must have her. And I will
yeah, I don't
stop
know.
at
He's probably had
nothing.
the fucking African game on as well. It's like, you know, maybe I could add another trophy from Africa over here.
I must have this Rachel Zane. Where
It's
is
just,
she?
I mean, it seems like a British tradition, you know? It's going taking like expensive shit from other countries, just bring it to your own, but like this time it's live. So, and that's the moral of the story. If you're gonna be pulling off that shit, you know, probably shouldn't be bringing something live back that you fall in love with. I just don't know. Like it just seems
Well,
so stupid on his
well,
part. Like,
that's what happens though. Everybody wants this fucking. They want this famous trophy wife or shit. Look at the shit that's happening with Jay Cutler, right? He's going through this divorce now that you know the story about Jay Cutler, right? The quarterback
no,
from. Okay, so Jay Cutler was the quarterback for the Denver Broncos and the Chicago Bears, right? And he had a pretty good career. Pretty good career. Didn't win shit, but he was pretty good, and made a whole lot of money. I think he made like something over 120 million dollars over the span of his NFL career.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so midway into that career, he meets Kristen Cavallari, who was on Laguna Beach or whatever. Reality star, kind of, sort of famous, but whatever. But she's seriously fucking good looking, right? So I guess they, fell in love, if that's what the fuck you want to call it, and and so they were together for like 10 years and have 3 kids together, and then Jay Cutler retires, like, because he's like 30, he's like 35, he was like 35 when he hung it up, and so he was like, well shit, I'll stay home. Kristen Cavallari, she's got her businesses going on, if that's what you want to call them, and because it's like celebrity projects that they call businesses. It's
Mm-hmm.
bullshit, but whatever. So anyway, uh, in the divorce, 10 years after the marriage, they file for divorce. Kristen Cavallari is saying that Jay Cutler is lazy and unproductive or something like that. I think something along those lines.
Oof.
But this is a guy who worked his ass off to become a premier NFL athlete. He was a diabetic too, so he had to work just a little bit harder, right? And now it's like, oh, you want to know what it really, honestly, if you were going to be real about this situation, look, Kristen Cavallari, she's 33 years old, right? Jay Cutler is no longer an NFL quarterback. Like, so he's not really relevant, right? This girl who's been a reality star pretty much all of her life, she values public relevancy, whatever. Like, it's an addiction because she's crazy in the head. So she's trying to do whatever she can to get out of this marriage and find something new before Father Time starts beating her ass, right? That's pretty much where I think that this whole thing is going. But like I said, look, be careful of that fucking trophy wife, man. That shit gets expensive.
Well, I'm just kind of thinking about this. Like, I almost feel like some of this maybe before they realized how deep they were in it, because like the royal families had a pretty bad reputation, like even
Well,
before
yeah,
this whole
yeah.
thing. Like,
I mean,
I think maybe because he had the Nazi parties. Like, I think the Queen was like saying, like, I think back in like World War II, I think she's that old. Like, there was some Nazi affiliation going on there. Like, there's been a lot of Nazi and like racism controversies, and I think
Some bad
originally,
optics.
yeah, I
They're
think
in
maybe
need
they
of an
thought this would
optics
be.
check.
I think that's kind of what they thought was a good idea at the beginning, but like they picked the wrong one because like they're probably like, oh, we need to go and find you like a minority wife. It's like, okay, and look at her, like she does. Like, honestly, I didn't even know she was black until like someone told me.
Same.
Like, I mean,
Legit
right?
same.
like
Do
you
you
can
think? Do you think
see.
it? Like, let me ask a question. Um, do you do you think the queen was kind of like looking at her and like she's like, "Bullocks, Harry. She doesn't look like us. What gives? Yeah."
I think no, I think she originally wanted to do that because of his stupid shenanigans with the Nazi uniforms, and then he ended up, you know, at some point the queen was like, okay, I don't think this is gonna work, and then he fell in love with her at that point, and that's like almost feels like almost like like it could have started out as an arranged marriage, and then she
They're
probably
familiar with those.
yeah, I mean it's a royal family after all, it's a family tradition, but they probably looked at it, I was like, okay, this seems like a good way to save some face, and it's like, yeah, no, you should probably back out, and he's like, nah, I think I'm gonna go and keep it. And I think that's what happened. Like maybe, you can kind of just contrast like William and Kate and like this doofus over there. Like he's basically been like a frat boy, like doing nothing. And I think it was like, yo, Harry, you're gonna marry someone or you're not getting anything. That
Yep.
could be another thing too. Like there's so much intrigue over there.
Mm-hmm.
But I think originally, he wanted to
You want to
possibly
impress.
find. I think he wanted to go and atone for some of his bad optics, and that's why he's so into social justice now. Like it's the left, they want to atone for stupid shit they did. They think that, like the original, well, not even real original, so like his straight up degeneracy.
I think really I mean he's just who he is, like the position he was born into. He gets the short end of the stick. He's a younger brother. He's not gonna get the throne unless William, something
Well,
happens
he's
to
really not
William.
getting the throne anymore.
Yeah,
Fucking
they've been pumping out children like nobody's business. Holy shit.
what
And
else do they have to do? Like,
well,
that's your job. Like you were encouraged to have as many years as possible.
and the thing
Like,
too
God,
is
like that's gonna be the best fucking job in the world.
William is better looking. He's the Chad. He's the star. But Harry's not that good looking. He's kind of he's again he's got the short end of the
Yeah.
stick given his position, so he's
The
trying
one
to
thing he had,
compensate.
yeah, the one thing he had was he was badass. Like he was a military badass.
Yeah.
Boy, he fucking simped it up hard.
He is the definition of simp. I mean, he just look, and this is a lesson that I think needs to be emphasized, which is like when you get with a chick, look, little changes that make you a better person are great. That's great. But fundamental changes to who you are, and if these things that make you who you are good things or badass cool things, that's not good. that's
Maybe
bad.
He asked me to hold her hair while she serviced another man, so I kindly obliged.
Well, maybe here's another sort of theory too. What if he was tired of being a prince and he wanted to be a reality TV star because he saw the print, like maybe he saw the whole monarchy
Oh, we're gonna have
as,
Keeping Up with the Royals now.
well, he's like, well, I can, it's not working. I'm always going to be playing second fiddle. But if I'm a reality TV star, I can be famous in my own right. Like maybe he wanted to make a name for himself as a reality TV star.
Can
And
he do that without fucking what's her name, Megan?
Oh, he could, but he would pick your poison. Like he would need to have someone like that, or else it would just be really fucking cringe. I
Oh.
don't think that like he would have.
You
I
don't
think
think
he
it's gonna
needed
be
someone
cringe with Megan?
No, it's gonna be cringe, but like this was an easy in because she has all his Hollywood connections. Like, I'm sure he could have found some other Hollywood
Does he
star,
really
but like,
need somebody with Hollywood connection? He just has to walk in the door and say, "Yo, I'm
no, I
Harry."
think there's a difference between, you have like
Well,
the
now
Novo rich, and then you have the,
he used
you
to be,
know, I
Hmm.
think there still is. Like,
like
especially, America rich versus British rich versus Novo rich versus, the landed elite. Like fucking what was that book with the dude who got cucked and shot?
What?
Um, The Great Gatsby, like some of that shit over there.
The dude who got cooked and shot. That's how you
Well, I mean,
describe The Great Gatsby, one of the premier classic American literature works of American literature. You summed up as the dude who got cucked and shot.
okay, there's two different dudes. The guy who did like the Chad versus, the fucking peasant, cock who got shot.
Was it? Wait,
The one
wasn't
guy shot
Gatsby
him.
a Chad? I mean, I don't remember this one. Wasn't
He
Nick
was
the beta?
well, I think Nick was like just kind of there. And
Yeah.
I think Gatsby, he was just kind of like your way to go and see what the hell was going on with Gatsby. He's just like the narrator as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Gatsby dude was just this like rich fuck who didn't care about anything except for like this married woman who had kids. He's like, oh, I'm just gonna like home wreck this person. Yeah, that's a great idea. This like poor dude who has nothing other than like his hot wife. Yeah, I'm just gonna like wreck his life, and you know, it's like that story's about like
The elite.
the dangers of the elite. I mean, it's you could go and look into like the new rich versus the old rich. Like there's some of that stuff in there too, but like it shows you how the elite feel about you. But to get back to what we were talking about before, the gay Gatsby took over,
mhm.
you know, like that's I think why he wants someone like that, because like I'm sure there's a lot of stuff like they probably have some connections to Hollywood, but like you want to have someone on the inside who could really help you, because Hollywood producers will screw you over. They will, if he had her, which he does, it's like his guide through the darkness. But in doing that, he made a Faustian bargain with that. He basically sold his soul. He basically abandoned any hope of returning to any sort of royalty. He jumped into this Hollywood life,
They
and I
jumped head
think
into more than one things.
Yeah.
he's basically sold his birthright out so he could have a chance to do some Hollywood thing, and I don't think he's gonna like it. He's not gonna like to being like a regular celebrity, not even like a prince. Like he's basically a trash, like a B-list celebrity now, who's this super like in a world of like blue progressive celebrities. How's he gonna make his own mark? Like what? He's not even doing anything. He's getting like trolled by people pretending to be Greta Thunberg on like Skype. Like,
She asked me to cradle his balls while he was plowing her, so I kindly obliged.
like he's literally doing nothing. Like he's changing his whole identity to try to fit in, try to be cool, to try to go and probably one up his brother. Because I think in
Mm-hmm.
his mind, at least when he started this, he thought, hey, I can do something
That
the
Harry can't.
monarchy, yeah, or not Harry yet, William, I
William,
think,
yeah,
right?
sorry. I wonder if he also
He's
feels a
trying to go one
bit
up.
sort of now. He feels kind of maybe embarrassed or sort of like wants to get out of the whole thing and
I think he
kind of
went in too
use
deep.
Megan as a gateway to like, hey, let's. And I'll be honest. I don't know if he really, 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 really does love her, or if he's just pussy whipped.
If he give up, like
He's
he
simping
wouldn't give up
hard.
his guns and like
He
basically
is
his whole
simping
personality.
hard, hard.
He is.
Like I wouldn't be surprised. Like watch a couple years from now, you see like Meghan Markle has an OnlyFans account. That would be
That'd
so
be funny.
And, like, she'd probably gonna go charge out the ass like inside the princess's chamber.
You're
Pay
hearing
like
it. You're hearing it here.
$1,000 a month for membership.
You're hearing it
She
first
asked,
here, folks.
she asked me to bend over while she was pegging me, so I obliged.
Like this is
I
like
was
an
thinking of
interesting
that.
sort of.
Speaking of pegging, Harry does remind me of a certain person we know.
He does. He
Yeah.
does. But like in such a weird space right now. It's not go- Whatever his idea was going into this, I can assure you that's not what reality's going to have. He's going to realize that being a royal is way different than being a celebrity. Like the only reason he was a royal was because he was born into it. Like for to be an actual celebrity worth a damn, he has to actually do things. Like he has to be different. He has to go and make something of himself. Like maybe start a movie or something. But I don't think he has any acting skills. What's he gonna do? Like reality TV? Like that's like the lowest rung of celebrities. Like music,
Unless you're Trump.
like he had to have some level of talent to get into something. Basically, like unless he becomes like a that'd be another funny thing. Watch him become like a Twitch stream
What
as a
would
way
he
like he's trying to
play?
go.
Would he play
I
what,
don't know.
Civ 5?
I don't know what he would play. Like watch him be like play Warzone. I don't know and be like, hey, I was over here.
I
But
did
like
this shit.
he would hate. Maybe he'd play like Animal Crossing. I don't know. But like people are gonna stop paying attention to him once his sort of, he's a few years out of this, and it's gonna be like 20 years later. It's like, oh, here's Harry. You remember Harry, Prince Harry? Here's him now. You'll see him on like smoking crack, in like a fucking crack den in the middle of the street. Like, yeah, like it's gonna be something funny like that. Like he crossed the Rubicon when he married her,
Yep.
and it's it wasn't worth it in my opinion. He's gonna see that their marriage isn't gonna last. I give him maybe 5 years before you know a straw breaks the camel's back, and he says no, and she says okay, bye bye, and something happens. I don't know if basically since he alienated himself from the rest of the royal family, if they'll even give a shit. Because I don't think they will.
I don't
Maybe
think they
they,
will.
maybe if they do, then maybe she'll have an accident.
Like, giving up the royal titles is just such a. It's giving up your duties. Like, it's really cucking out. And, like, man.
And like it's such an easy job too. Like you just look nice.
Well, no, no,
Show up and
no.
look nice.
I mean, it is,
You don't be an
yes.
asshole.
But
I mean, like
Megan
look, he
found
was
out
still
it's a
doing
bit
it.
more than you think.
Like
And
he
she didn't
was
like that.
doing it with his like frat boy ass, and he was still not fired.
Yeah.
But for her, maybe for her, who basically probably just coasted by her looks, it's a little bit much because in the royal bullshit, you need more than just looks. You need to have tradition. And it's probably like you can probably ask Princess Kate or whatever the hell she is,
Princess Kate.
you
Yeah.
know, how that was. Because it's probably not. I mean, it's a learning curve for sure. If you're born into it, it's probably not hard. But like if you're an outsider looking in, and then too, like it's gotta be weird, like being the only non like pure blood like fucking. Yeah, I bet that they say stuff like some racist shit behind their backs, and I think he probably heard of it. I don't know who's saying it. I can tell you it probably happens when you have these elitist pricks out there
Mm.
who are used to like marrying princesses and like people who actually do something with their lives, and you see this person. Like that's gotta be like to her point, it probably was awkward because I'm sure they talked.
Mm-hmm.
They're human, they're elitists. I'm sure that she's elite. Like everyone's kind of elitist in their own way, but not to that sort of extent.
The joke is she's only. I mean, this is like kind of going back to your point. She's only half black, and like when I first saw pictures of her, I didn't even know she was black. Like it's such
If she
a.
married an Irish girl, they'd probably say some shit too.
They probably
Like
burned him
it's
at
the
the
royal family.
stake.
They are the whitest of the white over
I
there.
know, and that's what I'm saying is like if they have an issue with with race with her, that's like. I mean, it's silly in any sort of
I mean,
relationship,
I
but
don't
like
know.
there,
I'm
it's
just
ridiculous. Because, like I said, you can't even tell. I mean,
I know,
and
but
and the
it
funny
it is the royal
it
family.
is, yeah. The funny thing
You
too is, you know, shit, I was losing my train of thought. You keep going. You probably have something better to say anyway.
Yeah, like I don't know. Like I have no proof for this or that, but I can just tell you, like seeing these elitists, like they probably don't just go and say, haha, she have dark skin. Like no, it's probably like, oh look at it. Like they'll find subtle ways. Like you want to talk about like actual like microaggressions. That's
Mm,
probably what actually happens. They're like just making people uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And like they know they do it because that's like the whole thing of like super elitism is making people who aren't in your clique feel uncomfortable.
Exactly. We've
And they
experienced it
have,
from
oh yeah, and
elitists.
like yeah, fucking CR is perfect example right over
They
there.
do
Like
it to
not to
me
that extent.
all the time now.
Well, they just try to make you feel uncomfortable because you haven't been born with a silver spoon in hand. But like imagine that times 100 because
Mm-hmm.
these people were born not just with a silver spoon, like it was a fucking like platinum spoon. Like, but to kind of, Harry's, what I'm thinking is Harry's point, like I don't know how much longer this sort of monarchy is gonna last. I mean, it's pretty much all for show now anyways.
Mm-hmm.
How much longer can it last before people are just like, hey, why are we spending money on these people just sustaining their life?
I think it'll last. It's a British tradition.
I know, but the British don't care about tradition.
Well, maybe not anymore.
Not anymore. And like,
I think
maybe
enough
that's what he
still
was
do.
hoping to. Maybe that's what he was hoping to hop on. It's like maybe he could get in there because
He's
Britain's trying to do
progressive.
some divert. Yeah, because like that, and that's exactly what they're trying to go and do is be super progressives. Maybe he's waiting for Prince William and like Kate and stuff to go and like screw up,
Mm.
say something like maybe he's hoping that they do something like really racist, and then you can be like, oh well, see, I'm over here. You can go and make me king, which would be the most like 21st century move. Basically have someone like forced out of a hereditary position because of something racist. Maybe he's hoping that like they can last for then and they can become true king and queen. I don't think like it's just so weird that whole situation, especially if you can look at him beforehand. He was like I don't even think he even like cared about that shit. Like he just seemed like a frat boy, like a
Yeah, he was pretty much a frat boy. And then he just got totally fucking just cocked. I mean, look, I don't like hunting, but it's like he gave up all his guns. Like, why would you even do that? What's wrong with having the guns at least? Like, okay, stop hunting, fine. Like, maybe, I think it's wrong. And
It's funny too, cause like the American makes him give up the guns. Like he had to go
wow.
and like take that into consideration.
Yeah, that adds greater insult to injury.
Like how much of a cuck you make the British guy give up the guns as you're the American. Like that is like
Can you imagine being
so
with
there's
her? Like, if she's like that with that sort of shit, she must be a dictator in the household.
oh god.
Can you imagine
It
living with
feels
her?
like it, no, I imagine it'd be like any sort of other Hollywood bitches, like probably like being married to Lindsay Lohan without the drug issues. I imagine, or like probably you know what? Probably kind of like how Kanye and who did he
Kim.
marry?
Kim
Kim.
Kardashian.
It's probably that's probably similar to how it was at the beginning, but I think Kanye,
Well,
He
he had
classed Kim up. Kim
oh
is
he
way
cracked the
classier.
fucking whip.
Yeah.
I think he cracked the whip with that. Like he had that
Chad.
personality. Yeah, and that's the difference. And like he cracked the whip, she cracked the whip on him.
Yep.
Like in the personality, like I don't maybe he wasn't alpha enough, and yet like to go and ride this sort of fucking horse, you have to go and show your dominance
She
because
seems like the girl too that slept around a lot in Hollywood.
she seems like an alpha female, and she needed a real alpha male to go and dominate, like to break the spirit from that horse, to
Hmm.
get it to be docile, to get it to you know, and he couldn't do it, and instead the horse is riding him, saying where you want to go.
He's weak.
It's like yeah, it's like some guy. He's, just first time car driver. He gets a fucking, well, what's that? What's that one? The Dodge one that they stopped making.
The Dodge Dart.
No, no, no. The like really crazy, like drifty one.
The
You just
Charger.
go like,
Challenger.
no, it was like their sports car that was competing with a Corvette.
The Hellcat.
No, no, fuck, two
The
seater.
Demon.
No, they stopped making it,
I don't
but it
fucking
was like an
know.
action. It was like a sports car, and it had rear wheel drive. And it had like four. It was like made in like the late '90s, early
Can you
2000s.
use a more modern reference?
God, there's nothing like that. Fuck. they kept making them until like 2014. Fuck, I'm trying to think of the name of that, but it'd be like, you if and he would be like, like a top, like some dude doesn't like fucking give a shit, just some like kid out of high school trying to go and drive something like that, like the kid out of high school trying to drive like a Mustang, but instead of it being like a fucking Mustang, it's like a fucking Hellcat or something.
Yeah, I feel ya. Like I said, he's very similar to somebody we know.
Yeah, he just got completely cucked.
Mm-hmm. See, and the funny thing is too, I notice people that get cucked by women will almost will half the time then accuse other men of doing the same thing when they're actually not. And we know people that have done that.
Yeah. Just two here. Sports car.
You're looking up this fucking car.
No, I'm trying to go and see what. Damn it! I hate that shit. That. The Avengers.
Oh, you think of the Avenger?
No, it wasn't the Avenger. It was like something that could, like, knock your nutsack off. Viper.
The Viper.
Yeah,
Oh, I
like
know
a
what you're
fucking
talking
Viper.
about. Yes.
Yeah,
I
like
know.
you have some guy, and they try to go and drive, then you end up like in a fucking ditch. That's basically what's happening over there. He thought he was just like, oh, I'm a prince. I've had my fair share of women. He's driven like a fucking like shitty like maybe drove like a fucking like Mustang or like a fucking rice delivery car. I don't know. He's like, oh, I'm a cool driver, and he takes us around the track. And not even just he uses this as a daily driver, and that's I think what beat him. Like I think you know, a night with that, he'd be fine like a track day or something. But
Mm-hmm.
he's using this as a daily, and that's something he wasn't prepared for.
Mm-hmm.
It's also interesting he wanted to go and have kids so fast. It's
Yeah,
like,
popped one in the oven real quick.
well, I think he needed to get. I think he was originally planning on staying. Maybe
I
he had.
think
He was.
she wants to lock him in.
I think he went 1 foot in and 1 foot out, where he could go and like stay in the royal sphere while also being his own like Hollywood celebrity. And I think the queen said, "No, buddy, you pick one." And I think that's why he had the kids so fast because she's getting old too. Like she can't be having like you listen to Stefan Molyneux. It's like
Your
after you're like
sexual
40 or
market
whatever.
value. Pew.
Well, no, it's not the markets. Like you can't really produce healthy kids
Mm-hmm.
very easily past like 40. And I think she's like what, like 38. So like if he wants kids, better get them now. But yeah, no. So like now, I just don't know what he's even gonna do to make money. Like unless he can like get her to go and like reality
He'll
TV
find a
show
way.
or
He's
something.
he's Prince fucking Harry. He'll find a way.
I don't know, but he's not Prince Harry right now.
Well, he's still Harry. He's still
He's
married
Harry.
to a Hollywood celebrity of connections and daddy who has connections too.
Yeah, and she's probably gonna have that OnlyFans account.
Mm-hmm.
Watch something like that happen,
Be
or like,
funny.
or she does some like mm, distasteful photo shoots or something. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Just
And like
nudes
it's
come out.
oh my god. Ugh.
Like the thing is, she's cute looking and she's kind of good looking, but she's not that great looking. But it's probably the best he's ever gonna get, and that's why it's probably like, all right, I'm in.
Well, he could have got better looking girls. Oh, I'm sure he could have.
Mm,
I'm sure he could. Like you had, every girl wants to be a princess.
that's true. So
Every and not even just some like random like bumblefuck middle of Bavaria princess. Like no, like
the
this is the
princess.
royal family.
Yeah.
Like even if you aren't, like princess, you're not like Kate, but you'll still be a, basically a royal. You'll be like you could really tell. Like pretty much 99% of people, like women, would probably at least give it a shot. But with her, I just don't think he chose right. He chose her for the wrong reasons. he wanted to, I think, make it work so he could do that Hollywood, and that's not gonna work for him. You know, like there's so many different reasons why he could have done too. Like Hollywood atoned for his previous sins. Maybe he wants to influence America now? I don't know. Like that'd be an interesting story.
Royal
Like what if
collusion.
yeah, because like now he has a tie to America, so he can go and speak out against America and Trump and try to help. Like this would be like some really
What if he runs for
bizarre.
president?
Well, he wouldn't be able to because he's not born here, but
Oh
Megan
man.
could,
Yeah, what
and
if
then
she
he would be the
does?
first. He would be the first man.
Oh,
God, that would be
God.
so
That'd be
cringe.
so perfect for them, though. You know, that's
Yeah, and then
literally exactly what he would settle for. He'd be like, yes, Megan, you are the true power in this relationship. You are the.
people would straight up like revolt at that because that's exactly what the founders didn't want. Like, they probably didn't see it happening that way, but oof, that people would be freaking pissed. But that's why you have to be born in America, or born to Americans, or wherever the hell they're saying now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he could never run, but he wouldn't want to run anyways.
Oh.
But
Anything
yeah,
else you want to go off on before we wind up here? Or wind down, I
yeah.
should say.
Let me check. I think we have funny things I found. Wolf said there's something going on with Wolf, I think.
For the wolf.
Can you open that up?
Did I mention the shit about CRs in here? Yeah, I did. About speaking positively of Alex Jones and InfoWars, and I triggered some cucks.
I think we did talk about that. Wolf says I'm trying to be transparent. Wolf says as his administration rejects bill to restart public records law. So apparently we don't have public records right now.
That's great.
That's that's great. Pennsylvania. Ruth Ginsburg hospitalized with an
An
that's some good
infection.
news. No,
Yeah,
just
that
kidding.
happened the other day.
That's interesting. She seems like she's gonna be another one of those John McCain types, like just coasting by, like literally getting as many transplants as they have Democrats out there, because they will. Like I've seen things where they will donate like their still beating heart to her if it means that she could like stay in for another day.
Oh,
That's some
yeah.
like
Dude,
God
she's
Emperor
like,
shit right there.
she's a fucking cyborg at this point. She's indestructible.
Well, she honestly, like, she really needs to stop. I said the same thing with McCain too, but like, they hate Trump so much that they just like that's the only thing that's keeping their heart being like. Do you know how terrible that would be? Like being into your 90s, like still working as a Supreme Court justice.
Mm-hmm.
Like that can't be good for you. Like, doesn't she have family? I wonder, doesn't she have like a husband or something, or did he pass away?
I have no clue actually if she's even married. Let's check that.
I think she did have a husband. 'Cause she did. I mean, if she didn't have a husband, I mean, she'd be able to go to like any bar and be like, find all these progressive boys, be like, "Hey, buddy, wanna go and grease the old windbag?" Ugh.
Right as you say that, I read an article comes up that says, "Here RBG call into oral," and I'm like, wait, what? It says, rest of it says oral arguments from the hospital. See, they ever fucking work from the hospital? I mean, she just won't. She just won't go. Let's see. Oh yeah, she married a Martin, who died in 2010, and she popped out 2 kids with him.
Like that, like
She could
so.
remarry, and the guy would die again, and she would still keep going.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing I hate. Like that's one of the problems I have with the American political system. The fact that once you elect a judge, they are in there for life. Like I feel like there should be like a 20-year term limit or something. Like keep it something like that, or like maybe even 25-year. But like when you have them for life, what it incentivizes you to do is basically find some like whatever the minimum age is for that, just pass them because you can never get rid of them.
Mm-hmm.
unless, something happens to them or they voluntarily resign. Like and they're not elected by the people. They're elected by, Congress or whatever, Senate. I think it's the Senate, like the Congress does the nomination, or I don't know. It's some
No, the
bullshit.
president nominates them, and
In the
then
Senate.
the Senate votes on them. I think I
Yes.
think they have to pass through the House first and then the Senate too. Because
Yeah,
that's what
but still,
happened with Cavi.
yeah, good lord. But I mean, at least he's young. So I mean, we need more young people on the right because for the longest time we're just getting these old
Well,
people in
that's
there.
why
And I mean,
Trump was smart. He appointed people that were experienced but still somewhat middle aged, I guess you could say, or younger ish.
yeah, yeah, I'm interested to see how Kavanaugh goes. I mean, he had to deal with hell getting even appointed to over there.
Mm-hmm.
Came from Maryland, so I mean, I know that area pretty well. But another interesting thing. The U.S. Army is banning anyone who had COVID-19 from enlisting.
So, wow.
That's a little bit scary. Even if you already had it, like you're already certified as clean from COVID. Like if you survive it, you're still considered ineligible to enlist. So that's a little bit scary. Like, do they know something that we don't know? Or are they just doing that for now
It
and,
might just be a precaution for now, I think.
but you would think you'd want them now so that you could keep holding your drills if they have the antibodies. Because that's
CBS News poll: Elizabeth Warren tops Democrats' wish list for BP.
oh God.
He would never appoint a white woman. He would pick a colored woman, which would be either
I
Kamala
don't think
Harris or
he's picking
Michelle.
anybody.
Yeah,
I don't think
that's
he's
true. The
picking.
DNC's picking it for him.
I
Kamala's
I
number two
wonder.
on the list, 60%. That's who he's gonna
Oh,
pick.
do we tell them about the Democrats, like actually their announcement with that? The
Oh, the
CDs?
CDs. Yes, they. I think they knew they were in a little interesting position, and they're holding true to their believe all women thing. Oh, but we still need to vet her. I think that's what they basically said.
Oh, they didn't say that with Christine Blasey Ford.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least they're consistent
They were
somewhat.
being consistent.
I'll give them that. Like I wasn't expecting. I thought they would have came up with some bullshit. I disagree with most of the stuff they said. I disagree with, every freaking political organization needs to release a statement about everything. Like,
I
I
hate
think that's
that.
probably, I think that's probably like 99, like 90% of the actual quote unquote work that the CRs do is just writing bullshit statements. It's like, well, the CRs found a picture in the stall bathroom and it was offensive and. We don't like that. It's like, okay, buddy, like there was racist graffiti in the stall. Like, I'm surprised they haven't flipped out about that, like, yet.
What?
Like, just Penn say, like, racist graffiti in the bathrooms.
Oh.
Because, like, you go to any bathroom anywhere and there's always racist graffiti there. Like, I'm surprised, like, they haven't had, like, a protest about racist graffiti in bathrooms.
I'm
Like,
surprised
see,
too, actually.
you missed out so much when they had Yik Yak over there, because that was such an interesting time. Like, I think they may have had it your freshman year, and then I think they did. I don't know if
Um, I don't, I don't remember it at all.
I don't know if you actually used it, but I think they got rid of it the spring of freshman year, I think, like at the end of the semester. But God, that was so fun because you could like it was basically 4chan, but it was local to that area, and like it's one of those issues too with a company that had no path, like no easy path to monetization, and that's what killed it. Like other apps, like Snapchat had a hard time with that too. But like now they have those stupid fake things and they're like I barely even use it anymore, but they still have some way. But like I think at one point they were valued at like $20 million, but they never took the offer and they end up just waiting. I think they either declared bankruptcy or sold it to someone else. I think they still whisper around, which is kind of like it. but when you had Yik Yak, man, I think it got screwed up when you could start posting pictures and they're like, that's when, and then when they started like forcing you to use user accounts, because like the fun part was being anonymous. Like, I mean, like there was some times when like trouble would happen. Like I think someone like threatened to do a shooting or something at Penn State
Oh
using Yik
Jesus.
Yak, and it wasn't like it was someone who used a GPS spoofing app or something. So they weren't even from Penn State. You get stupid shit like that, but you could get, and people would like cheat on tests in there all the time. Like they'd gonna post like answers to, like finals and shit. Like it was such an interesting experiment. Like honestly, I'm surprised they haven't made a documentary about that. Because it had such a profound effect with the nation as a whole. So it wasn't even just Penn State. Like this was everywhere, and high schools were getting affected.
Two last things I'm gonna mention before we sign off. I'll read the college dem statement, but first, Leafy uploaded a new video. He says he's dropping a documentary. It's a 5-minute video. It says, I slid into Kate Torino's DMs. Some girl named Kate. Yeah, Leafy's been more active recently. He's kind of coming back, I guess.
He's posting like 1-minute videos or like 5-minute videos when he used to post like 10, 15-minute videos like all the time, like probably like almost once a day. But I mean, I'm glad to see him kind of backish. Like he's had he should go on Joe Rogan, honestly.
Yo, yeah, because Papa Elon was back on. We could get if we got Trump on Joe Rogan, that'd be epic.
I don't think Trump has the time to do it, honestly. Like not now. Like maybe once he's done being president, he would. But I don't think he really has the time right now. But I feel like Leafy, he was such a phenomenon for like he literally I think single-handedly changed several YouTube policies. Like he's probably part of the reason why it's so one of the early reasons why it's harder to get monetized. Like I think the majority of it was from like the pedo content and like the weird YouTube videos and all these left-wing like shit, but he definitely played a part in at least early ways.
Well, this video again has fucking Keemstar in it, and I'm not playing the audio of the video, but it does. There's one image here in the video that says Kate Torino. It's a chick he slid into her DMs, I guess, or something. I don't know if he actually did. Like it could just be clickbait. It says Kate Torino cheated on Call Me Carson with 8 boyfriends.
Oh God, like I thought, who was that girl from? Zoe Quinn, I think. Like with the Five Guys that was free by 8 people.
5 Guys.
Yeah, that was the whole
Not
thing.
the
With,
burger joint.
Yeah, like Medicare made a video back when, that was back when he was an internet aristocrat, and like that was the whole meme. Five Guys.
Well, I'm gonna read the college dem statement real quick before we sign off. This is what they said. In March 2020, former Biden staffer Tara Reade accused Joe Biden, former VP and presumptive nominee of Democratic Party president, of sexual assault and harassment during her time in his Senate office in 1993 as the College Democrats chapter at Penn State. Oh, they're a chapter now. We call for a full investigation to this allegation. Whoa, a full investigation into the allegation, not into Joe Biden, into the allegation. The Penn State College Democrats are not alone in this matter. So brave, so bold.
Well, at least they're being consistent.
Well, no.
Yeah,
This part they weren't consistent on. This part they weren't consistent on. What follows next is where they're consistent. We joined statewide organizations such as Pennsylvania and Texas College Democrats and our nonpartisan organization like the New York Times editorial board.
Yeah, I wouldn't call them a.
Have they opened up the New York Times at all during the Trump era? It is always, the editorial section is constantly anti-Trump. There's not a single pro-Trump editorial piece in there. What are they talking about? They are the opposite of nonpartisan. It's laughable. Every individual deserves to be heard and have their claims both taken seriously and investigated. Oh, see, now they gotta be investigated. Here's the kicker. Democrats are a part of the coalition that coined the slogan "Believe Women." No, it's "Believe All Women." That's what they were saying. Within the Me Too movement, Democrats have actively combated the pervasive nature of sexual assault with our activism, legislation, and our rhetoric. Oh, their rhetoric has combated sexual assault. Has it?
I don't like rhetoric doesn't matter. It's your action.
To turn our backs on an allegation and not investigate it would not be in line with our party or morals values. Joe Biden must release his records of the University of Delaware in full cooperation of the DNC conducting a thorough investigation of Reed's allegations. Oh, so the DNC is going to do a thorough investigation. I'm sure they will. I'm sure.
And they'll probably be like when they screwed over Sanders. They said, "Oh, we can rig our own system." Probably same response.
Yeah. Because sexual misconduct must be vigorously investigated equally, not only across the political spectrum, but in educational work settings as well. I do agree with that. While the Penn State College Democrats will support the Democratic nominee in November with the purpose of defeating Donald Trump and his dangerous agenda, it is our duty to advocate for these claims to be investigated and addressed properly first. See, the way they don't say we should investigate Joe Biden, they say we should investigate these claims. That sounds to me more like they want to investigate Tara Reade. And they still say they will support the Democrat nominee. So they don't care. They don't care. They're trying to be consistent, and it's...
Oh yeah, like if you're gonna support someone who's basically a fucking rapist, you know, and you claim to be the party of women, you're not the party.
President Trump has been accused of severe sexual misconduct by over 25 women throughout his history and was documented bragging about in his infamous Access Highwoods tapes. No, it's not what he was saying in those tapes. We've already addressed that. College Democrat community, its Democrats community, acknowledges how abhorrent it is for anyone, especially those in the highest positions of executive power in our nation, to be responsible for this kind of heinous behavior. Concerning sexual assault and harassment, party lines do not and should not matter to us. Oh, they always matter. You're full of shit, guys. It's why you guys are trying. You're all still backing him. It's crucial to investigate Miss Reed's accusation so as not to dismiss sexual assault survivors for the political process. We must prove that the party that claims to not only believe women but support survivors of all demographics stands by its word and continues to do so. I hope so. That would be nice. The DNC cannot waver in its values, especially when the current commander-in-chief has created such an unsafe environment for survivors as conducive to perpetrators. Okay, how has he done that?
I don't know.
He literally is the president too that, you know, like those sort of like rape kits are kind of sitting around and they weren't. I don't know what they didn't do. They weren't running them.
Process because they probably get. I think it was an issue with, you know, it takes a lot of work to go and deal with one. Then when you have so many people sending them in, it's sad.
But he was the one that got all those processed. Was Trump?
You never hear about that.
Yeah, we work to build a culture, not only our organization but at Penn State as a whole, that does not tolerate sexual assault and harassment. We plan on holding Penn State accountable for the recent report by the U.S. Office of Civil Rights. Oh, this is spicy. The U.S. Office of Civil Rights, the Penn State failed to protect its students by violating the Title IX and improperly addressing sexual assault complaints. I need to dig more into that. Sounds interesting. All large influential institutions, whether it's the Pennsylvania State University or the... Okay, why did they say Penn State before? Now they're saying the Pennsylvania State University.
They want to sound special.
Yeah, they do. They can't be consistent.
Pennsylvania State University.
Yeah, I guess everybody knows this. The rest of it's kind of the whole yada yada they expect at the end. The Penn State College Democrats emphasize that no survivors alone. We stand beside you. Oh, this is why they gobbled up the Sargon event, because they were like, oh, he said I wouldn't even rape you. Oh my God, he hates women. Man, these people. God. Anyway, thank you everyone for tuning in to Real News Quarantine. We really hit all the bases this time, didn't we? Any final thoughts from you, Alex?
I think that should be about it. Wow, Actually, wait a second. Yeah, apparently someplace near my house just had the SWAT team.
Oh, somebody got
That's pretty
swatted.
common. No, there was like fugitives or something there. I don't know, man. This world's going to hell. They probably went to Walmart without a face mask.
Go to Walmart.
Oh, wait. Speaking of that, did we talk about that lady yet who got
Oh
released?
yeah, let's mention that real quick. Yeah, lady in Texas that got sent to prison for like a few days or something, for trying to open up her salon. I think
Yeah,
she.
they threw her in jail, which they were letting out people who were rapists and criminals,
Mhm.
like actual criminals, and they throw her in jail because she didn't apologize to the court.
Mhm. That's right. And
Yeah.
she got released, thankfully. So we'll see. We'll see. What oh, interesting thing here too. This is from CNN. Cuz okay, for one thing I've I'm predicting with Barr they're going to try and take him down. They're doing this to Kayleigh McEnany, the new press secretary who's smart and hot, which it's everything CNN hates is smart and hot Republicans. Um they're digging up dirt on her, trying to take her down because she's effective and she's killing it as her job. It says we reviewed footage of Kayleigh McEnany from CNN in summer 2015. She called comments from Trump, quote, racist and, quote, hateful and, quote, not the American way, calling him a showman and, quote, not a serious candidate, adding, quote, I don't want to claim this guy. Ooh. Well, there was an interesting tweet from Lauren Duca. Did you remember her?
No, I don't know if I remember her.
She's some like super feminist girl she came on Tucker Carlson a few times. She even came to Penn State. I was there, and a friend of ours, well, not really a friend of ours. What can we use for a code word for him? God, Larpy, not Larpy. What would we call this dude?
What is this, Vladimir?
No, this is not Vladimir. This is shit, what would we call? Oh, God. He's Spurgy, I'll say that.
Okay, that's like 10 people.
God, what can I call him? Jesus, this is a difficult nickname to come up with. I don't know if we have a nickname for him ever.
Yeah, but just call him some bullshit like Bob.
We'll call him
the Builder.
Bob. Bob the Builder was at her event and was like trying to like ask her questions, and she like was doing a back and forth with him. I was at that. Let me Google this shit. Lauren Duca, Kayleigh McEnany. Okay, this is what she said about Kayleigh McEnany. Lauren Duca. She said, I was on CNN with Kayleigh McEnany after the 20.
Oh, bless you.
Jesus, thanks.
Or that quadruple.
Almost makes the whole thing about sneezing. Lauren Duca said on Twitter, oh, God. I was on CNN with Kayleigh McEnany after 2017 Women's March. In the elevator after a segment, she smiled as she told me how easy it is to profit from being a pretty woman willing to support Trump on TV. Now she's his press secretary. I suppose it was only a matter of time. Oh boy.
Yeah,
Well,
that's interesting.
I hope Kayleigh's for real. I hope. I'm gonna look into that stuff that CNN report on her. Well, because she's really good. I hope we can keep her around. I hope she's for real. But that's all we got for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into Real News Quarantine. Subscribe, share this stuff out. Combat the CCP. Combat the globalists. Keep up the good fight. We'll see you again on our next transmission. And as always, stay safe and wash your hands.